All right, guys, welcome to episode 2 of Built from the Ground Up. It's my second episode of my new podcast. I'm excited today. My guest, Mikey B, is who I call him. He is a serial entrepreneur. He has so many businesses. It was actually hard to decide on which one to narrow down on for our talk. But today we're going to talk about short-term rentals. Mike is the CEO of Stay Rome, and we're going to talk about through his practices with Airbnbs, what makes a good Airbnb, where do you buy them, and how do you make sure yours gets the most rentals. Let's start right now. Let's bring on Mike. Here we go. Mike, how are you?
Doing great.
Man, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
So we met, well, first of all, we met last summer, but I gotta tell you, I've been meaning to tell you this, you're one of those guys that you make someone feel like they've known you forever.
Thanks.
It's this ability, I'm sure people told you that before.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, not hating on Washington, but from California when I came here, like that was kind of the energy I got from people was, are you from here? Because you just go up to people and talk, and it's just in me, I think.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah, we met on a boat, and you were the captain of the boat, and I was like so impressed. I've never seen anyone navigate a boat with it looked like a Nintendo controller or a Sega Genesis, like totally dates myself, Nintendo.
Yeah. I think docking boats is like my most proud skill set.
Yeah.
You know, I love it.
So. Yeah. So that's amazing. So you know how to dock boats.
Big boats, right? This
is
a 65-footer we were on.
Yeah, that was so fun. A few things I wanted to get into was talking about short-term rentals with you. I think a lot of our viewers and listeners are going to be super excited to hear about some of your other business ventures just because they're so interesting to me. But first of all, before we tell them what those are, let's talk about what you're seeing right now, short-term rentals. Yeah. Here in the Northwest. We're talking vacation rentals, we're talking rentals in the inner urban settings, high-rise. I guess for my clients who own multiple properties, they're always asking me, like, what's the next investment? What should I do? And what we like to tell people is it's great to have fourplexes, duplexes, things like that, but it's also really fun to have fun properties, like vacation properties that you yourself can go enjoy your investment. It's harder to do that with a stock portfolio, right? Yeah. Or with a duplex. You don't usually end up going on one side of your duplex. Hearing from you what you're seeing right now, if we could start with vacation property rentals, how's that leg of your business going?
Yeah, I mean, that is a big part of the business. And so Stay Rome's the company, right? And, you know, it all stems, and I think everything I do stems from like experiences. Yeah. Like even the boats, right? We came out on my boat, and we just had a good experience. Yeah. And so the vacation rentals fall right in line with that, right? It's creating these unforgettable experiences for people. But I think you nailed it when you said, like, these are fun investments. Yes. And I think that's something, I mean, on paper, like we can go through where should you put your money, which markets, right? But the personal enjoyment that you get out of a vacation rental that you are going to use or plan to use is a factor. And I think I started it as that. Yeah. I think many people that I know that invested fell in love with an area and thought, oh, we could buy here. Right. Could we offset the cost, right? And that's doable in many markets. Yeah. Can you buy as a pure investment and turn a profit if you know what you're looking for, right? And a kind of a term I'm using right now, also writing like kind of a playbook, maybe an ebook on this, is future-proofing your rental, right? So looking forward, I have to look forward as I invest more time into my business and energy. Where is this market going, right? And there, you know, Airbnb has had its boom, you know, and a lot of hype, and I think you're seeing, you know, some shuffling around, right? And so it's knowing where you're getting in and what's changing in those markets and those conditions. And so for your clients too, I tend to look forward to saying, you know, well, if you invest now, what's it going to look like in 10 years? Are there going to be changes in the rental restrictions in that area? Right. Suncadia, for example, I don't think you're ever going to see a change that's going to affect negatively the short-term rentals, right? Because this is in the bylaws. Right. There needs to be a certain amount of rentals. I don't even think they have enough because this is what's driving business and people to come there. Yeah. So investing in areas like that where you kind of got this safe, you know, protective, you know, concept to it where yeah, you're always going to be able to short-term rent there. Will it get more competitive? Potentially, right? But I mean, any business you get into can get more competitive. You have to level up.
That's so good, so good. And I love what you said about the safe part of the investment, because for my clients, a lot of them ask about a safe investment. And I think it's important to identify those areas where you won't get grandfathered out or ruled out of being able to rent that property. And in Chelan, we saw that, where they really limited what areas Airbnbs could be there, or short-term rentals could be there. And so I think you're right. I think for Suncadia, for example, is one where that won't ever change. Now, outside of that, in the city of Cle Elum, we may see that change and isolate to certain areas. So on a personal level, though, locally here in Washington, so we talked about Suncadia, Chelan, those areas. You don't have to pick one, but I mean, what are some of your favorite ones that you see your clients most leaning into, or that you guys enjoy as a family as well?
Easily for me, and I think one of the best places in Washington, I mean, in the Northwest, is the San Juan Islands.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was skeptical getting into short-term rentals there because it is regulated. You do have to have a permit, but you just got to work to get it. But you can get, I mean, waterfront property in these islands, right, which are a couple hours from us.
Yeah.
And it's very seasonal, but and that shouldn't deter anyone from investing, right? And I picked up a rental there, and I was worried about the seasonality, but what you can do in that season is amazing, right? And so when you do have that, you get a flood of business and reservations, and your prices need to match that demand.
Right.
And so
it's dynamic pricing there then, a little bit,
Dynamic pricing, knowing where the market's going, setting your prices right, and that's a big part of what we do as property managers. We take care of the guests, we take care of the owners, but we're trying to take care of your investment, right? And get the best return on your investment. So we have an entire dedicated team to revenue management.
That's awesome.
But that's the area because I'm just in love with the San Juans.
Yeah.
So and it you know, I think the return there for what you can get is kind of a little hidden gem up there.
How about this? How about we charter a boat up to the San Juans, and then we charter a home, right?
Got it.
The whole thing could be covered.
What are we gonna do there?
All through your company.
Yeah. Done.
That's incredible. Okay, so question for you. I just attended the Puget Sound Business Journal Sports Symposium, where they talk about our sports teams and what's coming to the area. And one of the big things is World Cup coming. So for your clients, speaking of dynamic pricing, your clients with properties here in the local, with an event like that coming to town, or this summer we had the Eras Tour by Taylor Swift, right? Came to town, and we saw massive revenue come. How do you prep for that with your clients? How do you tell them, well, here's what we should range that out at? What's the best way? How do you forecast really what to do pricing wise in that dynamic season?
Yeah, a good example, like when you're talking about the World Cup coming here, it was when the Super Bowl went to Arizona.
Yes.
And everybody people that weren't renting their home put their home in the market. Right. So all these homes just popped up.
Everyone was renting their home.
And the prices were everywhere. No one knew how to even price it. And everyone thought it was going to be just like jackpot, for cash. And to our surprise, we had several listings go unbooked.
Yeah. Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And I think there was an article out there about this in one of the newspapers, but the frenzy just confused the whole market. So we learned a lot from that. We saw it and we saw it coming, but the owners, they had their opinion on rates and prices, and it kind of influenced where we were.
Right.
And so as a management company, it's important, and as an owner, to listen to your management company of like, hey, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so with the World Cup, I can see that happening too. Like if someone thinks they can get 20 grand for their house for the week or for the month, they'll just put it on Airbnb because it's very easy to list your home, right? And then go on a vacation.
Right.
So new inventory will come in and it will affect the prices.
Right.
I think dynamic pricing will show you the demand, and it knows that that's coming. And a good revenue team is looking at that, and they're looking at, has this event happened in the past, and what do we see?
Right.
And as long as you can improve on that, that's the goal, right? Exactly. But if we haven't had the World Cup, we are kind of shooting in the dark, but doing our best. We'd rather get booked early than be waiting the week before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we try to get our prices as accurate as we can estimate.
Awesome.
And try to get it booked. And try to get it booked for maybe it's a 5-night minimum.
Awesome.
So you can extend your minimum, but keep your rates high, but somewhat reasonable.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Such good answers, man. Such good answers. I love it. I love it. By the way, your family is the cutest.
Yours too.
Oh, well,
We have that in common.
we are blessed men. That's for sure. So
That is, I don't know if you've run into that too, but like, especially with a new baby, like I love working and grinding and growing businesses, but I leave the house and I see that little kid, I'm like, I'd rather just stay. So I'm taking like, I do a lot of coaching mastermind groups and of my own, and I'll be on these Zoom calls with, teams of people, and I'm just holding a baby. Because I'm like, any chance I can get.
Yeah. And you do life so well. I just wanted to say that to you. In the time we've got to know each other, just seeing you from afar, it's inspiring. And there's a wake behind you, right? I think people maybe 10 years younger, people are looking up to like how they want to live their life. Would look at a guy like you in particular and be like, that's motivating.
So I mean, it's priorities too, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think my priorities have always been enjoy life and create memories. And honestly, second was make money.
Yeah.
Right. But with that, enjoying life, doing what you love, helping other people, will come money.
The money follows. Yeah. Follow your passions, right? Want to walk my clients through. So my clients who are ready to get into the STR realm, into the short-term rental market, ideally, I find them the perfect home. I've consulted with you. I've even got them some rates on what these things could rent for.
And there are good comps too. Like we can see a lot of what is your neighbor doing, your competitor.
Totally. So I get them in the contract. We get the property. They have that data. I turn them over to you to set up everything. Tell me, with your company, what does that look like? How quick can you get a property going, get bookings happening? And then tell me about a little bit how that, maybe a portal or how that reports back to the owner so they're kind of aware of what's happening and that process.
Yeah, so, and I would say it's a little bit more involved and in depth now than maybe in the past. In the past, it was like, let's turn this on in 24 hours, we get good photos and we're live. And that is fine for people that want to get going quickly, but we want to make the home protected and smart. So we have devices, we want to take care of the home, you're sharing the home, so your locks, your sensors to detect noise levels and things like that. So we take our time, get it set up.
Perfect.
But again, this is maybe a few days. The bigger thing is, are we just another rental, of this big piece of the pie?
Right.
Or can we be the top, 1 to 5% of homes? It doesn't have to be the most expensive home, okay? It has to be the most, well designed, and there needs to be intention behind it. That's what it comes down to. The renter needs to feel like you didn't just throw it into the rental pool, right? You actually thought, what's gonna give, you think like a boutique hotel, and you come in there and there's like maybe a glass of wine waiting for you, champagne, like the best experience you've had at a hotel. The gap between those hotels and your Airbnb we're right there now. So if you're not ready to be in that hospitality business, then don't expect to be top 1 to 5%, right? So I'd say to your owners is like, let's look at this. If this were you staying here, we don't care what the price is, because it could be, depending on what you put into this property is going to determine the price. Not necessarily what you bought the house for. Are we going to invest in interior design? We see properties that start with that before you furnish it. Like, what's the interior design?
Make it a theme. Like, how about this? Make it Instagrammable, where they want to shoot the property. The morning they wake up, they do a slow-mo pan because they're just smitten by it. It's just so beautiful.
Well, what's your storefront for this property? It is that one image on Airbnb VRBO, right?
Yeah, that's your label.
That you hope they click on. So you have to get that one photo. What is it going to be? Your kitchen, your backyard, your pool, your front yard, or is it this like amazing game room that's just decked out? What are people going to do in your home, and then go all in on that? Take an incredible photo of it, and that is your photo, right? And that will rotate. You want to test it and change it maybe seasonally. So have a few different highlights of the home, not just one room. So I start there before we even take photos, is like, well, it's going to cost money to retake photos. So why don't we really hone in on the design first? And there are now companies, and we consult, and we have internally designers, that we don't just design a nice home, we design a home that is going to produce ROI. So if we say, hey, put a pickleball court in here, we want to show you the return on that investment. In Arizona, if you have the space to do it, that's the number one amenity. Pickleball, even if you don't like it.
Wow. So that's the spot. So that answers a lot of questions. So you make it turn it from just a rental into something desirable. And it kind of leads me to the last question is, maybe not the last, but one of our final is, so tell me, what are you seeing in top performing rentals? Let's talk about Suncadia, and for those maybe who aren't listening local, so Suncadia, 90 minutes east of Seattle. It's a true four-season resort. You have golf, you have pools, located next to the little town of Cle Elum, an old mining town, which is truly an amenity to the resort in itself. But within Suncadia, you have so many options of log cabins to contemporary homes, to golf front homes, to homes with pools. What are you seeing particularly in those homes that are some of the new trends or draws that people are booking out on? They're excited to be a part of those.
Yeah, so we just worked with a builder up there that is building within the lakes, and so in Suncadia you have the resort amenities, which some have access if you're staying at the resort.
Shout out to A&R.
A&R Homes, for example, some guests cannot use the pool, right? But we're seeing the lake communities come, to development and homes on those where, okay, we can't use the pool, now we get to go to the lakes. So the A&R Homes building awesome, single level homes right there on the lakes, freshwater lake.
They're beautiful. I walked through. Yeah. They're stunning.
So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about some of the other little. Finally, Suncadia is building, coffee shops and more restaurants, and I'd love to see a bowling alley and more things that, in a way, Suncadia Resort is competition, but I think the more we can all just, support each other in that area and just, hey, we want people to come here and enjoy it year round. We'll all do fine, And so, but I would like to see people get more creative, work with us. And Suncadia does have restrictions. Like you can't just throw a pool in your backyard. Depending on where you are, right? So within that, like there's only so much you can do exterior sometimes, but interior you can go all out.
Tell me about wellness, like mini cold plunges and spas. Is that hot right now or what?
Yeah, there's a little property up in.
Because you're a cold plunge guy, I know.
I'm a cold plunge guy. There is a property up like near Ronald or somewhere there that went all in on the sauna cold plunge concept, and they're pretty booked up, So, and I can't think of anyone else doing that up there. So for a small investment, like if I had a property that I own up there, I enjoy using the sauna and the cold plunge, so I would put it in there. My guests would love this. You'd be one of the few properties doing this. And that's how you get to the top 1%. It's like, okay, $5,000 investment, but now are you going to see that return? You're going to get more bookings for sure, and that is your photo, right? The sauna, the people in the robes, and
that's like the differential.
You're getting an Airbnb.
Love it.
You're getting a spa experience. Like you're getting so much for what you pay for. Right. Not just a house. Give them the entire. What is it gonna feel like? What are you gonna do in this house? They may not even need to leave. Like Suncadia is great, but if this house is just decked out for them,
I want to have the robes that are logoed with like a house name. And the bottle of wine, and is that sustainable though to have that level of service?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Too, like good management is going to keep up on, like the thing with robes or whatever is, obviously you got to wash them, you got to clean, and then they get damaged and stolen, right? So you need management keeping track of that, and if something gets stolen like that or damaged, we replace it. Right, insurance, and so it's sustainable if you are managing it properly. But if you're kind of hands off, not seeing what's going on, like the robes are going to be gone, and then the photos show robes, and now you have an upset guest. Where are the robes that we saw, right? If you're going to photograph it, it's kind of got to be there.
It better be there.
So because we're in multiple markets, like I literally have a place I manage in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, right?
No way.
And And it's why I...
Where is Broken Bow, Oklahoma?
If you go to Dallas, it's the only place to get away in the wilderness, and it's like, I don't know, 3-4 hours away.
No way.
And straight up Oklahoma, right? It's a fun place, but it's kind of like, I would say it's the Suncadia or Cle Elum more of Oklahoma, right? And so it blew up during the pandemic.
Oh, right.
But what's interesting is what I see people doing in Oklahoma for their STRs. Is better and more creative than anything I'm seeing in Scottsdale. By far in Washington. And Suncadia makes them look like they're not even trying.
Is that right?
So when I'm getting inspired or trying to inspire my clients, I'm showing them homes in Oklahoma.
That's amazing.
That these guys are thinking of everything. I'm talking like a slide, one of those spiral ones that comes from your living room down to your playground.
No way.
I mean, you couldn't do that in Suncadia, but they're
but just some fun stuff though. Yeah.
So it's really like playgrounds and
that's cool.
Everything. So
that's cool.
I was curious at, looking at what you do selling homes, is it specific to like these are, primary residents, or do you see, an equal amount or some amount of investment homes that people are looking for, either whether it's second homes or investment homes?
Yeah, it's a great question. Lately, I've had a lot of 1031 exchanges from people selling their investment home here, and they're buying either in Scottsdale. We just closed one in Tumble Creek in Suncadia, of course. And then one I just put in escrow last week was at the new Harvest development in Woodinville. Oh, cool. Yeah, which is awesome. And that one is a 60-40 on the rentals, so only 40% can be renters.
Okay.
So you got to get in quick at that one. Yeah. But we're talking purchase price of like 1.9. It's a beautiful 2,500 square foot, 2-car garage, walk to everything in the tourist district there in Woodinville. Walk to Chateau Ste. Michelle. And it's beautiful. And they had, and get this, Mike, to your point, this is exactly what I'm wanting my clients to lean into, is they're selling a home in Redmond that they had owned forever. Pretty tired home, but very, very good renting home for them. Top producing. They've made a lot of money on the short-term rental side. But the thought is, let's short-term rent in Woodinville now, where when we're in town, we can use it too. Yeah. And we can walk to all these places that we love. And really, that's kind of what I'm encouraging my clients to do is go with the fun investment. Because if it's not fun, why would you do it, right? I mean, that's our motto, isn't it?
And if it's fun, share it.
If it's fun, share it. Yeah.
The boats, the houses, they're great to have for yourself, and they're great to share. And if it can help you out, cover the payments, bring in some cash, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And in this case, with this Woodinville one, that's when I next turn them over to you, and you talk them through how can we differentiate yours amongst the other 40%. Yep. Do they get an entry bottle of wine for the guest staying there, or whatever it is? Yeah. Is it merch? Is it swag? And then is it themed out rooms to make it stand out and different? And that's where I would lean into your expertise for my clients, especially on the macro those areas. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we love doing that.
Awesome. Okay, so this is what really cracks me up. I joke, when we're together, I've told you this, but you're my bodyguard.
For sure.
People don't know that. You are.
We got to go out more
we got to make that known.
To put us in some dangerous situations or something. I think if our beautiful wives are with us, maybe we'll find trouble. But
that's true. These back streets of Kirkland can get a little rough around what's my bedtime? 10 p.m. So about 8:30. But you are an official black belt.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, yeah.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black.
There's a lot of different black belts. Jiu-Jitsu is I'd say the best.
Is it the best?
Oh yeah, it's the hardest to get.
Yeah.
It took me, I think, 20 years of
That's incredible.
Life. Jiu-Jitsu is very
20 years of kicking butt.
Your life, but 20 years of going through life, and there's no way to just fast track Jiu-Jitsu black belt. It was just putting time in, and so
amazing.
And before that, it was martial arts, boxing, all of that, and so still something I practice. I think everyone should. I'm starting to get my kids into it.
Yeah.
I think there's karate, which is great too, but jiu-jitsu, I think, for life. Mm-hmm. It's something that your kids could do for life and will actually really add value. Not just for.
In the rise of Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
which is not jiu-jitsu.
That has been
all those
fun.
kids in there were black belts, and you kind of think, okay, well, anyone can have a black belt, but
you've never had to use these skills in public. I mean,
no. Well, when you know them, you don't want to. Like,
No.
It's kind of, you
just put them in a chokehold until they submit. Yeah.
Do it in the gym.
Well, Mike, it's so good to see you. It's always good to spend time with you.
Yeah, brother.
And it's going to be fun to see this take off, the other things you're working on. And I think maybe next time we hop on here, we can talk about a couple other ventures you're doing.
Yeah,
but for now, thank you for taking care of my clients.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, they're super happy.
Keep them coming. We'll keep helping.
Absolutely. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. We'll sign this thing off, and we'll put up on the screen so people know how to get a hold of you.
Appreciate it.
A link to your site and everything you're doing, but definitely hop on, give you a follow on social and all those things. So yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks, Mike. Guys, thank you for joining me on today's podcast on Built from the Ground Up. It means a lot that you're here and you're learning right along with me as we talk to these incredible guests. 2 quick things for you. Over here, you can see more episodes by clicking right here on this link. And then also right here is the link to subscribe to make sure you don't miss a single episode of this podcast. Thanks for watching.